The hollow echo of Lucy's laughter still rang in my ears. Paranoia, she'd called it, her voice dripping with condescension. My gut twisted and knotted tighter with each passing day. It wasn't paranoia. It was the subtle shifts, the whispered phone calls, the late nights at work that suddenly became more frequent. It was the way her eyes no longer lingered on me, the way her touch felt absent. We were high school sweethearts. Lucy and I, married for 10 years, built a life together brick by painstaking brick. A life I thought was unshakable. But lately, the foundation felt like sand shifting beneath my feet, threatening to swallow me whole. I tried talking to her. "Is everything okay, Lucy?" I'd ask, my voice laced with a vulnerability I hated showing. She'd just smile, a tight, brittle thing, and say, "Of course, honey, you worry too much." That smile, once my comfort, now felt like a betrayal. The suspicion gnawed at me, a constant dull ache. I started staying late at work, not because I had to, but because I couldn't bear the emptiness of our home, the ghost of her presence where she should have been. One evening, driving past the local Italian restaurant, I saw her, Lucy, sitting across from a man, their hands intertwined, their laughter echoing in the night. My blood ran cold. It was George, our neighbor, the one with the too perfect smile and the overly friendly demeanor. That night I didn't confront her. Couldn't. The pain was a physical blow, knocking the air from my lungs. I needed time to plan, to strategize. Revenge isn't a dish best served cold. It's a dish best served meticulously prepared. Over the next few weeks, I collected evidence, phone records, credit card statements, photographs. I even hired a private investigator, a gruff, no-nonsense woman named Brenda, who confirmed my worst fears. They were meeting regularly, their affair a tangled web of deceit woven right under my nose. Then came the day, our anniversary. 10 years. Irony dripped from the date like venom. Lucy had planned a romantic dinner at home. She was humming in the kitchen, oblivious, while I set the table. Not with candles and flowers, but with something far more potent. When she emerged, radiant in a dress I'd bought her last year, I held out my hand. "Happy anniversary, Lucy," I said, my voice steady, betraying none of the turmoil raging within. She beamed, oblivious. "Happy anniversary, darling." We sat down. I poured her a glass of wine, my hand trembling slightly. "I have a surprise for you," I said, my voice barely a whisper. Her eyes sparkled with anticipation. "Oh, you shouldn't have." I placed a manila envelope on the table between us. Her smile faltered. "What's this?" "Open it," I said, my gaze unwavering. Her fingers, adorned with the diamond ring I'd given her, fumbled with the clasp. She pulled out the contents, her face draining of color as she scanned the documents. Phone records, credit card statements, photographs, a detailed chronicle of her infidelity. The final piece was Brenda's report, a cold, clinical account of their affair, complete with dates, times, and locations. Lucy froze, her eyes wide with horror. The blood drained from her face, leaving her ashen. The laughter, the confidence, the condescension, all gone, replaced by a stark, naked fear. How did you?" she stammered, her voice barely audible. "Let's just say I'm not as paranoid as you think," I said, my voice low and steady. Just then, the doorbell rang. Lucy flinched. I knew who it was, George. He'd probably planned a celebratory rendezvous with my wife after their romantic anniversary dinner. I opened the door, and George's smug smile vanished as he saw my face. "George," I said, my voice laced with ice. "I believe you know my wife, Lucy." He stammered, his eyes darting between me and Lucy, who sat rigid at the table, the evidence of her betrayal spread out before her. I stepped aside, gesturing toward the table. "Come in. We have something to discuss." He hesitated, then stepped inside, his face pale. I closed the door behind him, locking it with a decisive click. The sound echoed in the sudden silence. I pointed to the documents. "Explain this, George." He opened his mouth, then closed it again, his eyes darting between Lucy and me. He looked like a trapped animal. I, he stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence. I didn't give him a chance to finish. The rage I'd kept bottled up for weeks finally exploded. I lunged at him, my fist connecting with his jaw. He stumbled back, crashing into the wall. Lucy screamed, a high-pitched, desperate sound. "You son of a..." I roared, my voice raw with pain. "You destroyed my life. You destroyed our marriage." George cowered, his eyes wide with terror. He tried to speak, but I cut him off with another blow. Lucy was sobbing now, begging me to stop, but I couldn't. The rage consumed me, a fire burning through my veins. I didn't stop until he was curled up on the floor, whimpering, his face bruised and bloody. Then I turned to Lucy, my voice trembling with a mixture of anger and sorrow. "You lied to me," I said, my voice choked with emotion. "You betrayed me. You broke my heart." Tears streamed down her face, her makeup smeared, her carefully constructed facade shattered. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "I never meant to hurt you." "But you did," I said, my voice hollow. "You hurt me more than you'll ever know." I walked to the bedroom, grabbed a suitcase and started packing. Lucy watched me, her eyes filled with despair. She knew it was over, our 10 years, our life together, reduced to shattered fragments of what might have been. As I walked out the door, leaving her and George amidst the wreckage of their affair, a strange sense of calm washed over me. The pain was still there, a dull ache in my chest, but the rage had subsided. I had exposed the deceit, confronted their betrayal, and reclaimed my dignity. It wasn't the ending I'd envisioned for our story, but it was an ending nonetheless. And as I stepped out into the night, I knew with a certainty that surprised even myself that I would be okay.